Where arts and adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show with Oberndorfer and Long. I'm R. Brandon Long, along with
Todd Oberndorfer.
We are your hosts for the greatest arts and adventure podcast in all the land. Our guests this week, we have Mr. Mayor. Yay! Where's the? Hey! Yeah. So
you never use that for me. Not even one time have you used that.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm saving it for the mayor.
I'll save it for next time. Mayor of Ogden, I think you're wrapping up the first 100. Are we there yet? Are we
just over 100?
Just over 100. Okay.
Wrapping up 4 months almost.
4 months. Ben Nadolski, Mayor Nadolski. We also have power couple John and Kristin Wojciechowski. Kristin, how much of the power do you own?
I like the percentage.
That depends on who you ask.
No, I'm asking you.
All the power.
Yeah, okay. 100%. 100% of the power. What's your role with Davis County right now?
So I work for the Davis Arts Council, and I am their Senior Director of Development.
Okay. I don't know what that means. Todd can fill me in.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that.
Or we could just ask the source to.
Well,
kind of the
that's
idea
true. Yes. That's kind of the idea.
I'll be answering your questions today.
Okay. All right.
If you'll be answering
Todd
mine.
is speaking on my behalf.
And don't look her straight in the eyes either.
And then we have professional gravel bike champion to be, I think. Roll with it. Help me out. Executive Director, Utah Safety Commission, John Wojciechowski in the house.
Hello.
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 He still got it.
He
still got it.
He still got it.
Oozing charm.
Oh my God. I love it. Okay. We will start with Mr. Mayor, with preferred. Ben, Mayor Nadolski, what's the full, how do you?
I'm getting used to answering to both. My name is still Ben. So
It's been, yeah.
They don't change that?
So whatever you're comfortable with, I'm fine with.
Okay, this is good. So burn past those first 100 days. We're talking about new jobs, new starts. I think that's sort of the theme of the podcast. Everyone's got new starts. Was it harder than you thought? Was it because you've been in and around the game for a while. You were part of the Ogden City Council for a while. You've worked with politicians so it was like you were like, I could do this. This is gonna be easy. And then it wasn't, or was it easier than maybe you thought? Like, how was the first 100?
I definitely didn't come into it thinking it was going to be easy.
Okay, good.
I think I assumed the worst, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And absolutely have experienced much better than I could have expected.
Well, that's good.
I enjoy the work a lot more than I expected. Not to say that I was coming into it thinking I would hate it, but it's a job that you just can't, you almost can't prepare.
I don't know anybody who would want that job. And so
Right.
I think the fact that you're having a good time right now is admirable. And, it's good for me to hear.
I came from a job that was my lifelong dream.
Yeah.
So I worked in wildlife management. So I worked in river restoration, a lot of wildlife biology, started my career jumping out of helicopters and, aerial capture for big game, lots of fun work. Spent time out in the mountains, protected a lot of open space. So I was nervous about giving up my lifelong dream to do this. And I have not been disappointed because while that work was fun and fulfilling, this work is definitely aligned with what I feel like is my purpose. So it feels like the fulfillment is through the roof all the time. So I feel like the work is better than I could have ever expected.
What can you define your purpose? Like, what do you feel like your purpose would be?
I always service is my
Services,
purpose.
yeah.
Service to others.
Yeah.
That's how I was raised. That's what I like to do and what I find the most fulfillment in. And this job has a never-ending demand for service.
I'm gonna move the camera a little bit here to Amy because she has a question about first 100. I think.
Oh, what was my question?
Well, I have it written down.
I had it like I had actually articulated
It was really complicated. How did it go?
Yeah. So your first 100 days, like, did it go as you anticipated? Is it? I mean, I know it's like drinking through a fire hose. What accomplishments are you proud of? What have been your biggest challenges stepping into the mayor position?
That's a bunch of questions, but they're all good ones.
Yeah, they're all kind of, and they're all
good ones.
tied together.
So when I started and the day I was inaugurated, so let's back up for a second. You go through a campaign, you have a whole team that's working toward your election, right? And then you get elected, and the next day, no more team.
For real? They just bail? Like what's
Well, the election's over, right? And there's a little bit of wrap up and
Yeah.
you button some things up and so on. But really, you kind of lose your apparatus, so to speak. And then you prepare yourself to inherit a massive apparatus, right? A lot of team.
new team? Yeah.
Right. But in that interim period, called the transition, it was just me and my wife. And in that time, I was invited to participate in a program that Harvard offered for new mayors. And it was really powerful, super engaging discussions, and they helped prepare me.
I think
forward.
that sounds like fun. Can I do that?
Run for mayor.
Anybody? Oh, you have to
When
get the position.
be selected,
and then
et cetera.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it. Okay.
I mean, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity
Yeah.
to participate in something that I never would have grown up having access to. So,
Yeah.
really great experience. They taught me and all of our cohort about 20. There was 29 mayors from around the country, and it was all about preparing for your first 100 days. And that was so helpful and such a relief to help me identify what we're going to do. And so I put together a 100-day plan, told everybody what I planned to do, was really specific, even on my first day, had every hour scheduled out, then the full first week, then the first month, second month, third, and at the end that we would deliver a summary. So we did all of the things that we set out to do in the plan. And the way we set it up is that if you accomplish these things, you're off to a great start.
Yeah.
And it was all about kind of building your base, focusing on values, focusing on your culture, getting into the role, reaching out to community partners, etc. So from that perspective, I feel like it went really well.
Yeah. So now you're done. Now you can coast, right?
No, I got to go a half step back. Now that you're telling us about mayor school, like how cool is that? So,
Mayor school.
I mean, did you make some mayor buddies? Like
That's what you do in
mayor
school.
city buddies?
Yeah.
Like I remember going to those kind of, well, not this exact kind of training, but I mean, what a thrill. What a crazy amount of new information. And like you said, a situation that who would have imagined?
It was, I'll never forget the experience, frankly. I remember showing up for the first lesson, first lecture, right? And all these mayors, we had
You
Chicago.
got your pencils all sharpened.
Yeah, yeah. There was the mayor of Chicago and
Nice.
Philadelphia, and a lot of like mid-sized big cities, and then Ogden, Missoula, right? And then we were kind of the smaller 100,000-ish cities. And they told us all of the mayors, the dress was business casual. So I showed up business casual.
Yeah.
That meant, for everybody else, that meant cufflinks.
Oh, for pizza.
Oh,
Like,
geez.
they were really dapper.
Yeah.
I was totally
Yeah.
mountain casual.
Yeah.
And it became a
Ogden
little
casual.
bit of a theme. We were repping Ogden really well. Everyone's like, well, so that tells us what Ogden's like. I'm like, exactly. We're a mountain town.
Yeah.
So, but they do it on purpose so that you have a cohort of mayors that you can lean on. This is what I'm experiencing. What are you going through? What are you thinking? How are you handling the pressure and the stress?
Are you guys like jockeying for position? My boss, did you say Philadelphia, Chicago? Those are big cities.
Big cities, big politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any jokesters?
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to think of just a classroom setting.
Right. Who's talking the most? Yeah.
Exactly. Chicago. Chicago
Chicago's
wouldn't
talking
shut
about
up.
Philly wouldn't shut up. That's who wouldn't stop.
No.
What an
Actually,
experience.
I remember I made this remark in the class. I was looking around the class and looking at the caliber of the humans around the table and just saying, this is an impressive group of humans.
Yeah.
The people that are leading our cities, we take it really serious. There's, let's not talk about national politics if we can, but we can all recognize that it's messy, right?
Understood.
And mayors across the country take it really serious that this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we can set aside partisan politics and really focus on people. And it was really refreshing to see the whole room rallies around that. And we weren't told to, we weren't asked to. Everybody showed up in that mindset.
Tell me there were dorms. Tell me you weren't
Todd's killing me.
after that.
Oh my gosh.
There weren't dorms, but we were all in the same hotel.
Son of
Yeah.
in my head, it's dorms.
So in fact, we did in-person instruction, meet your instructors, go through all the lectures and everything. Then we had online since then. And then they sent out a group of students that were graduate students that focused on a project of my choosing too. And all of this was paid for by the funding apparatus that just is intended to prepare future leaders and the current ones that are in these, really pressure-packed situations.
How long ago because How long were you on the city council side of things?
8 years.
So when in that process were you like, yeah, I could be mayor? Like, when did that enter your mind?
Like really committing to do it.
Like, yeah, well, yeah.
I'd been asked a lot to do it, and I was like saying, no, I'm not going to do it. And I meant it. I even said it publicly, I'm not running. But there was a night where some really, really close friends, just dear friends, just said, Ben, we feel like the door is opened and you're just afraid to walk through it. And if you don't walk through it, we feel like you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. They could see that it was aligned with my purpose in service. And I could see it too, but I was afraid of what it would involve because I'm human, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember the dinner table we were at when I said, fine, I'll do it. I'm not going to live the rest of my life with regret.
That's a big move.
And
big decision.
And I'm not going to take it halfway. I have to go all in. Mm-hmm. But life doesn't always present easy options.
No.
So,
John?
I do have a story to tell the mayor, and then maybe he could do something about it.
Oh, God. Okay. I was
welcome to every day in my life.
So, Chris,
you're on the clock. And
Maynard James Keenan. Do you know Maynard or of Maynard? He just celebrated his 60th birthday. He was in... he's 60, and he was in Salt Lake last week playing at the Maverick Center.
Yeah.
He was with 2 of his 3 bands, and he opened up with the Perfect Circle rock band, right? And he gets out there, and he does the first song. Everyone's cheering, and then he says, Salt Lake City! And it was just kind of, yay! And he goes, oh, you guys sound like Ogden. And then there was like, boo! And then he goes, Salt Lake City! And everybody cheered again. So the moral of the story, I guess, is Maynard James Keenan knows about Ogden.
Well, yeah, he played Ogden.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what can we do? What can we do about the
93.
what can we do about the booze in Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
Or actually, it's West Valley.
Well, you can't do anything about the booze in West Valley.
Yeah.
Booze like booze, but not drinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 different laws, rules, actions. Yeah.
We can do plenty about the
Yeah.
booze.
Yeah.
Well, we ship them up here for Twilight. I don't know what their problem is. So
Right.
it's a better, they're just,
It's a rivalry because
it's a rivalry.
Ogden says just as much.
And I think if you try to, I'm answering, if you try to like, if you manually
Fine
try
with
to
me.
fix it, it never works, right? Like you just have to ignore that and just be you, Ogden, and everyone will, because if Maynard came back, he'd realize like, oh, Ogden's way cooler than Salt Lake.
Yeah, I think if the mayor
Yeah.
writes a letter to Maynard's people, then we can get Maynard.
You
here.
really ought to replay the fairgrounds again. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Okay.
Let's get him to the fairgrounds, I think is what.
Look, John writes a letter, I'll sign it.
All right.
One step closer to getting
step
Pearl Jam and
closer
Ogden,
there.
Yeah.
which is always the goal. So
And I will read it before I sign it. Please think about the words on the paper.
the clarification.
Kristin, would you ever want to be mayor of a town? I mean, you're a leader. Is this something you would ever want to do?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Well, not right now.
not right now. but
Somebody's got the job right
eventually,
now.
like,
Probably not. I don't. It's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility, but I have a lot of admiration and respect for those who put their name out there, who run. Our son does political campaigns for a living. He's a political consultant, and it's hard in all aspects. So, and then you make it into office, and it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
So. I love to be behind the scenes and supportive and, do what I can do as a community member. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I aspire to be a mayor.
I thought she was going to say, why would I run for mayor when I'm already governor of the House?
oh snap!
Well, that depends on who you ask.
Getting back to the beginning, I think you asked who's got the juice in the House.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got 100% of
Who's
it.
got the
So
juice?
Yep. If you ask me, it's me. If
right.
you ask John, it's John. So.
I don't think John would admit ever
Yeah.
say that
Oh,
out loud.
yes, he would.
Okay.
How do you guys know each? Have you known each other for a while?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah. How'd you? Is this like running store
So
action?
I was on the goal board
okay.
initially, and then was the Ogden Marathon race director for many years. And then, Ben, I don't know what year you joined the goal board.
Right after.
Yeah.
or sometime after.
Yeah.
You guys were running the training series,
Uh-huh.
and I was on the board when the Gold Foundation purchased it
Yeah.
from you guys, and now we're continuing to run it, right?
Yep. As far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually was with the Gold Foundation in 2005 when we were awarded the marathon from the city. And that's when we started. That's when Gold actually acquired the marathon from Ogden City. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I did. And I started on the board, I think in 2009.
Yeah. Yep.
That's when my oldest was born. I remember showing up to my first
Yep. All our little
welcome
kids running
meeting.
around.
We had a little baby in a car seat.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Mayor, I got a question for you. So what are your hours?
I don't think you're ever off, are you?
24/7.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Like
I understand that,
the
but
hours are
office
intense.
hours.
The hours are intense. Office hours are pretty standard, except for Tuesdays. They're for city council. Usually there till about 9-ish. But usually start at 8, go to 5, events and speaking engagements after that. If you know anything about me, I don't sleep well. So
I didn't know that.
I'm up
for
in the
real?
night. Oh yeah, I'm up in the night every night, and really the only thing that puts me back to sleep is to get some things off my mind. And
I mean, I can tell you're
Put it
high
down on
energy.
paper.
So how do you organize that? Because your mind's probably going a million miles an hour. So
Yep.
secretaries, notes, and apps. Like, what do you do to manage it all?
no, I keep a lot of journal a lot of writing.
entries. Yeah.
I just have a lot of thoughts that if I don't put them down somewhere, I'm going to continue to chew on them in my mind all night long. So
Yeah.
helps to get up, write them down. I'll pick up on those in the morning.
Do you do it electronically or
No, I'm
paper?
I'm a paper scratch
Yeah,
it
this
off
is
guy.
a debate. I've had this. Do you? Who's a paper person?
I'm paper.
I'm paper too.
Both. But I'll be honest, I'm a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time you can't sleep, put on one of our podcasts.
On this one.
I would
This
say this
podcast.
one to start. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. I love it. Okay,
Still the funny one.
let's yeah, no, Todd's always the funny one. He's hard to compete with, John. Okay, let's do like a quick policy stuff, like real fast. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay. These are from Amy. I just have the mic. That way you can be mad at her, not me. These are,
This will be the first time any of this has been brought up ever.
yeah,
to
you've
me.
never heard any of these questions
exactly.
before, ever. Okay, you asked how the first 100 days went, and he answered that twice. Okay, how do we ease, and this is where Amy can explain the question, how do we ease the tax burden on Ogden citizens' highest property tax in the state? And go.
First, we need to build more economy. That's why every city focuses on economic development, because it creates revenue and generates the wealth that we need to pay the bills.
Good answer. How do you do that? I don't know how, like, what is there things that you put in place? Like, how do you even, I don't even know. I don't know how you do that.
First, you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I encounter a lot is people are anti-growth. And I always say, look, I'm not...
Todd says that all the time in this town. It's like,
Right.
Ogden is. Yeah.
So
Ogden is, yeah.
growth is coming no matter what we try
Yep.
or no matter what we say or do. So the best thing we can do is plan for the growth, manage the growth, or else the growth will happen to us.
Yep.
And so we're actually about to kick off a massive planning effort. So a general plan is like your citywide plan for zoning and ordinances that create the template for what you build where and how, what it looks like, etc. And we have been living under an outdated plan for a long, long time, far too long. So we're going to kick off it's a 2-year planning effort. It's such a big lift, and that'll kick off here shortly.
Okay.
So that'll set the tone and the terms. The first thing that we do is do a bunch of community engagement and determine collectively what our vision is for ourselves. And then
So that plan can make everyone happy. 100% of the people happy.
that's exactly what the job. Yeah, that's every day in the job. Everybody's always happy.
Oh, every day.
No
yeah.
one's ever met.
Best job
my
for that.
gosh.
Right.
Okay, moving on next. I guess there's a lot of youth rec programs. How do we pay for them all?
So that's actually something I'm personally passionate about. It's what I was actually at a softball game before this, and I'm unfortunately missing the basketball game for my daughter while we're here.
To be on this show?
Well, I didn't know that there was a game today, or I would have
Yeah, sorry about
maybe
that.
we would have scheduled another one. But we've got a lot of ideas on how we can be a better collaborator in our city. The county is a really important stakeholder, so is the school district. My opinion is we have a school district and a city and a county that all work for the same citizens, and the citizens pay some portion of their property tax to each of us. And we are not the kind of town that needs to be or should be duplicating efforts, nor should we be building the same facilities when we all work under the same roof and are working from the same taxpayer's wallet, right?
Yeah.
So I think that we can help pay the bills a lot better if we consolidate our efforts, divide and conquer who's going to provide adult recreation, who's going to provide youth, at what level, et cetera, what facilities are required, and then we make sure that the people's money are being spent wisely so that we're not wasting money duplicating efforts just because we can't work together and get along.
Yeah. Yeah. Love your background, wildlife conservation. So that goes into the conservation of open spaces, I guess, in Ogden. There's not a lot. How do we, get more, or is it possible, or how does that work?
Well, not a lot is a lot. Depends on who you ask. Depends on what your standard is.
I guess I don't know the boundaries.
It just
very
depends on
much,
your standard.
Yeah.
That's what we ask.
Right.
It depends, yeah.
I come from a perspective of more is always better.
Sure.
Right? So in my past, and it's some of the more rewarding work that I've done in my professional life, is protecting open space, thousands of acres, big wildlife management areas. The Ogden River, restoring the river, and the Weber River, those are all considered open space. So I'd like to have as much as we can, but we also have to think about, of the open space that we have, what amenities are we providing, at what quality, and are they delivering on the services that people need? So just having quantity is one thing, but having quality within
Yeah.
that quantity.
Is that a
another
budget
too.
thing? Or
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Because that's not something that creates revenue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it is something that costs
Costs.
a lot of money,
Yeah.
but it's also something that provides a tremendous impact for quality of life.
Yeah. Amy?
But there is quite a bit of research showing that having those recreational amenities increases property values.
Absolutely.
And increases livability. And I think in 2015, the city council took on an initiative to try to get an open space bond initiative on the ballot. We worked with Trust for Public Lands, and the former mayor and his staff dragged their feet, and it did not get put on the ballot. And nothing has occurred since then to try to preserve what most of us consider like publicly held open space. A lot of the Bonneville Shoreline Trail is on public land. And we've had instances where the property owner has decided to shut off access to that, or do tactical training exercises and things like that. So, and we have tourism initiatives that bring more people into our community using those trails, using those properties. We have growth, but we're not increasing the number of acres of open space, nor, as far as I'm aware of, it seems like there's no initiative to try to protect the open spaces we do have. Because we've been very fortunate that those property owners have been gracious and allowed trails through their properties and have worked with that. But so do you have a plan to try to remedy some of that?
Yep. So I'm all in for protecting the open space, especially on the East Bench. I think that's hugely important to our quality of life and really what makes Ogden Ogden. But I also want to make sure that other people in our community, not just those of us that live on the East Bench, we live down the street from each other. So we benefit from the open space on the East a lot. And that's actually why I moved into the property I did, so my kids would have access to that. But there's a lot of people in the rest of the city that don't have those amenities. And it's important that they have access to parks within their proximity. And so last year or the year before, I think it was last year, the school district actually does own quite a bit of property in the city. They have to plan for future growth, make sure that there's plans for whatever property that they own, right? If they need additional school to accommodate student growth, et cetera. So they've gone through a really rigorous exercise to project their future demand and need, and they're identifying surplus properties. And within state law, local governments have first right of refusal for those. So last year we did purchase a really big piece of open space up on the north end of town. It was adjacent to the 4th Street Park, and that's a big opportunity for us to expand 4th Street Park and make sure there's more amenities for that neighborhood, but also for the rest of the city too. And those are going to be in my view, some of the big opportunities are coming up for open space acquisition, while balancing. So we're going to need to look at where those properties are relative to other open space, while also considering the tremendous demand nationwide for housing. So everybody's looking for housing.
Yeah.
So we're going to need to do both of those things with those
Yeah.
properties.
Well, and I think my comments kind of are more not so that's programmed open space, that's parks, that's great. I've talked to people who are parked on the trailhead up the street from my house, and a lot of them, they're from Ogden, they're from other areas of Weber County, they're from Davis County, they're from out of state. It's not just the people of East Bench using that as their own private
For sure.
playground.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's important to have programmed, developed open spaces like parks, but I think it's also important to have wild places that, preserve habitat for wildlife and give us a place to get away from it all, where it's not a lawn and it's not sprayed with chemicals and you're not bumping into people. So I guess do you have plans to try to address the issues with protection of that wild open space that I think is important? I mean, we had the issue with the gondola. It tore our community apart. I think it made us all realize how important that was to people, and nothing's really been done to try to make sure that that is protected.
So I agree with you 100%. That's why I spent 22 years of my professional career protecting open space, creating new wildlife management areas, and restoring and rehabilitating habitats across the state for that exact same reason. So my values are perfectly in line with that. The problem is you cannot create more open space than there already is. The mountain's the mountain, right? But we could protect the space that we have. I'm up for that. And two, we need to create opportunities to access those open spaces. Sometimes there's a whole checkerboard of public and private, and sometimes private ground can cut off the public from accessing public ground. So we need to be looking for opportunities for corridors into accessing those spaces.
And John needs more room to gravel bike. More trails. That's all he cares about.
I enjoy riding in Ogden. I would say in the last several years, the drivers have been more friendly. The wildlife has been more friendly, and I have no complaints about that.
The wildlife has been more friendly.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but we have the most friendly raccoons in Ogden. In fact, we have one. He just comes marching through our backyard every single morning and just waves hello and keeps on trucking.
You know what new neighbors I have that are, I'd say they're regulars now, are big giant wild turkeys in the backyard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they're driving my dogs effing crazy. Like, I mean, crazy. Like, I work home 2 days a week, and if the turkeys are in the backyard, anxious. She just wants to go out and she wants to play with the turkeys, right? But these turkeys are ginormous, very loud. I don't remember ever seeing turkeys in that particular neighborhood.
They've gone
out.
crazy. We need more coyotes or something. I don't know what's going on.
No, I don't want them to kill the turkeys. I like the turkeys, but
No, we need
they are
to thin
new
the herd.
neighbors.
So I need to admit something.
Yes.
This is not going to make me the most popular man in town. But
Okay.
the turkeys might be partly my fault.
I think you should just leave it at that.
No,
No
but
story to back it up.
when I was about the year 2000, I just graduated from Weber State, and one of the first jobs I had, I was doing a lot of grunt work, but one day I remember walking through the office, and there was biologists from Kentucky and Utah were in the hallway just kind of scratching their heads. They'd had a rough day doing aerial capture of elk, and how are we going to wrestle these things and get blood results and so on. But the arrangement then was that we were wanting to reestablish turkeys in Utah, and they needed to reestablish elk. And we were overpopulated in elk and still are, and they were overpopulated in turkeys. So we traded, and now we're overpopulated in both. So
And they're Kentucky turkeys as well?
yeah,
Oh, for Pete's sake.
They have a drawl.
Yeah, their whiskey. Their whiskey's good.
but
have a
some of the
draw.
funnest things I've ever done in my life was
Releasing the turkeys.
So yeah, where's our elk?
all over the place. I've even captured.
It's in the
one.
middle, in the middle of Utah.
Yep. We've tranquilized one at the motor vehicles office in South Ogden. That's how
Oh, really?
they come down the mountain.
I haven't seen it in the yard for a while.
They're in the
but
open
they're-
spaces that Amy and I want to protect.
Yeah,
They're out there.
Well, I do have a question because the trails thing came up, and I don't know how much the city has influence over this, and you specifically is. I was listening to some business owners, race directors this weekend who said they have approached the Forest Service and said, we'll make the trails, we'll maintain the trails. They're kind of already there. It's just that it's not official. Just give us the go ahead. And the answer has been from the Forest Service that they are essentially tapped on resources, and so like there's nothing they can do. So that's the question: is does the city have pull with them or no, or what's the process there?
Influence maybe.
Influence
But
a little.
I think it's more complicated than that.
Okay.
If they just said, yeah, go ahead, they'd be breaking the law. So they are subject to the National Forest Management Act,
Okay.
as well as being a federal agency. There's a federal nexus that would require NEPA. There's a whole public outreach process required before they make those decisions. If they were to say, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that, that would be what's called pre-decisional. And
Yeah.
someone can litigate saying that they were being arbitrary and capricious.
I think Todd and I
have it
make
overturned.
pre-decisional
That's
decisions all the time, but that's another.
It's a very litigious environment.
Making some right now.
They're giving you that answer because they're following the law, frankly.
Okay. So if we want new trails,
There's a process.
there's a process to go through
Yep.
the feds, I guess, and how that works.
Yep. And then they'd have to do a biological assessment, come up with a finding of no significant, hopefully. But there's also there's timber resources, oil, gas, mining, wildlife, recreation, livestock grazing, including cattle, sheep. Those are all uses on the same space, and trails is one of them. So
Okay.
they have to do an analysis that looks at that use relative to all the others to make
Okay,
a
so then if they
appropriate
like
decision.
go around those places, then it ends up in the county or the
then,
city.
then they end up getting sued, and if they
No, well, I mean, if
Didn't-
they go around the forest, national forest, or whatever, and they deal with the city, is that easy? That's easier, right? Or the counties, that's easier to
presumably, if that's the
presumably
local
Okay,
government's
sure.
priority, then
Okay.
yeah, it'd be a lot easier. Yeah,
Just curious.
Most of the land to the east of us is Forest Service.
correct.
Yeah,
But there's unincorporated county before you get to the forest,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit of a checkerboard, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, got a couple questions for you. So the first one is, where are we going to see you this summer? Do you go to the concerts? Will we see you at a Twilight concert?
Yep. You'll see me at Twilight. You'll see me at ball games. See me at O-Foam.
Nice.
See me.
We'll be backstage at
You'll
Opal.
see me on a mountain bike on the trails.
Yeah.
See me running the trails. See me at the gym.
'Tis the season. What's your favorite time of the year?
Ooh. This is an ongoing debate at my house.
There's a right answer.
It's a debate between spring and fall. I love spring because of the color green. I grew up without that color in my life, so I love it's like magical for me. But I love fall because that's hunting season and football season.
Fair enough. Those are my two favorite seasons
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes two of the smallest seasons in Utah.
Mayor, it's 7:00. That's what we booked you till. So if you need to run to your game, feel free.
Oh,
Just
already,
okay.
already missed the ball.
Already missed the book. Okay, never mind. All right, we got all night, Todd. We got
We gotta get to the Wojos.
we got to get the Wojos, but well, we're gonna get to them whether you're here or not.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is we would swap out, but that's all right. You're good.
Okay, so I have an opportunity to talk to a brand new mayor, and so
Which is great.
I
Thanks for
want
coming
this-
on. By the way.
Yeah, thank you so much
No,
for being
thanks for
here
having
for us. We're not going anywhere. We're going to ask you back again sometime.
Can I just interrupt real quick and make sure we've had mayors on the show before, and every time the recording doesn't exist.
Brandon did mention that.
I'm just saying I'm double recording right now, so we'll see what happens. I don't mean,
And I'm taking notes. We got this down to transcript.
He'll write a 5-page report and
that
just in
damn
case.
previous mayor's so lucky, man, because we had the dirt and it never saw the light of day. So
But I wanted to pick your brain just a little bit on this, and I want to say this in the best way possible. And so, I am involved in my community. I love that you said you want to be in service, right? And it seems to me that is probably the driving force of what you do. Why do you think that is? I don't know if is it rare. It feels like it's more rare. So many politicians. It's more on the narcissistic side, right? And so you either have that trek, or you have the in-service kind of side of things. And I don't know if there's a little bit of both that's involved in a position that is, has the spotlight on it all the time. Your previous job, you were probably loved every day. The new job, there might be a few people out there. And so where are you starting to find that balance of being able to, I was used with students. I was a advisor for art students, get that thicker skin, right? You start to build that up as a performer or as an artist. Is that a learning curve for you? Have you already started to go in that direction? Where's the best place to be in a position of power like you're in right now?
I've always am amazed when people say that you run for office for your ego or popularity. It's not a popular thing. It's some of the things that people say, the message that you get, it's hurtful.
Well, and I like
right?
when you're winning, you're at 51%.
Right. Slightly less than half the people in the town hate me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not a ego building experience whatsoever, but it does require emotional resiliency, no question. There are personal attacks all the time. There's attacks on my family. The things that happened during the campaign blew my mind at times, and it shouldn't happen in a small town. And in my experience, I think most local elected officials are in it for the right reasons. Hopefully it stays that way while they're in it, but I don't see this as an ego building experience whatsoever. If anything, it's protecting my ego while I endure a lot of negativity in order to maintain positivity, because the city requires and needs a leader with a positive spirit moving forward. I can't fall to the negative.
Yeah, and you can't let it beat you down over time.
You can't. The city's relying on me, and and it's really, there's daily reminders all the time. You're surrounded by staff that are counting on you to have your spirits lit, right? If my spirits aren't up, neither are theirs. If I'm in a bad place, they all feel that energy too, right?
Did you hear that, Brandon?
I heard that if you're
in your family and within the Banyan Collective, you got to keep your spirit up.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're ever down, you just come hang out here. Like after work, just come hang out here with us, and we'll lift you back up again.
Is it like that at the Safety Council? Do you run a tight ship? Everybody in a good mood over there?
In a good mood, but it's tight. Yes,
it's tight.
Wow.
Everything I've learned from my.
Yeah. Kristin teaches how to run the tight ship.
Yes, sir. Yes, she does. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because I'd probably be in jail right now otherwise.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
that is a whole other episode.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what you're getting ready to go through tonight. The best metaphor I can think of is a 100-mile race, where you start to sing, you're in the best shape of your life, you're fresh, and then you finish and you're in the worst shape of your life. You feel awful. Never again. But I guess the only advice I could give is just rely on your crew and your people around you, because they'll get you through.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
I've never done a 100-miler. I've done a few Ironmans, but never done a 100-miler.
Well, you're about to. You're about to do several 100-milers. Yeah.
That transition period was like the taper.
Yeah.
I was miserable. Right now I'm in the start of the swim, right? But I know it's going to get hard. I know it's going to get it is heavy. That's why I lose sleep at night. The things on my plate are not simple. If they were simple, they'd already been solved. So everything that comes to your desk is challenging.
And we're talking about Ogden. Ogden. Like we're talking, how heavy is it compared to other cities, Salt Lake or something?
I've never been the mayor of Salt Lake, but
yeah.
I was raised by the vice mayor of Phoenix, my mom.
So you got experience.
No, I don't have experience.
Okay. You saw it. No.
I saw it in my youth through my mom's eyes. But that's a huge city, big politics. I remember talking to Governor Cox one time. He said, actually I wasn't mayor then. I was working for his government, actually. He's like, Ben, the hardest job I ever had was mayor of a small town, because you know everybody, and every decision you make is personal and affects people you care about.
Yeah.
So I think being a mayor of a small town is harder than being a mayor of a big town in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because it's hard to hide. You go in public and everybody knows who you are. Where in a bigger town, you might be easier to just slip in with the crowd. And
right. It's far less personal because it's so much removed from personal relations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and that's something later. I mean, geez, everyone takes it personal. The mayor said this or did that. And it's like, well, yeah, because you were obviously thinking about that one person when you made that decision. How do you... That's a rough gig, man.
That's why you got to have thick skin.
That's Todd's question. That's a rough gig.
And you don't get thick skin overnight. You develop that through maturity and wisdom over time. You have to have a strong sense of self to know that look, I'm not a crook. I'm not a horrible person. I'm a good man doing my best to be a good father and a good husband and a good mayor, right? Yeah. And that's all we can hope for from all of our public servants.
Yeah. Kristin, you got a new job.
I did.
Yeah. You have advice for the mayor?
No. I'm looking for all the advice.
I was just curious.
So when did you start your new job?
I'm about a month in.
And so it's still very fresh, but are you familiar with the job responsibilities?
I am, yes. And it's been great. It's been a great transition. And it's great to be, I know it's not Ogden, but Davis County. I'm a Davis County born and raised. And
You live in Ogden.
and we live in Ogden. And I grew up in Ogden part-time. My parents were divorced, so Davis County and East Bench. So I have a little bit of, the good of both worlds there. But the Davis Arts Council has been great. It's just a small staff of 5 of us, and their director of development was retiring, and so I took her position. So I had a little bit of crossover with her, which was fantastic.
Were you looking? Did they poach you? How'd you get the gig?
They reached out.
Oh, snap.
It's good to be in that position.
Yeah. They encouraged me to apply.
Word is
There you
out.
go. Yeah, they encouraged me to.
The word is out. You're very good at what
Yep.
you do.
Well, thank you, but it's been a good move for me, and very community based. It's been fun to be back out in the community and just reconnecting with a lot of the people that we connected, when we had our business Striders, and we started out in Layton. So it's been good to make
And you've been late in Ogden for a long time. That's
Layton
sort of your
Ogden for a
move.
long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, then you're the perfect person to ask. How come people from Layton don't come to Ogden?
Because it's like 50 miles from Layton to Ogden, and then like 10 miles from Ogden to Layton.
I know, it's the weirdest thing.
I know.
So all the traffic to the Davis Art Council, does it mostly come from Salt Lake? Because Ogden doesn't go to Layton either. I mean, it's kind of works both ways.
You know what?
so-
A lot of it's Davis County, to
It
be
is?
honest.
Okay.
And I don't know all those stats quite yet, but the majority comes from Davis County. We do have some that trickle up from Salt Lake, but I would say there's quite a bit that travel down from Ogden.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. No, my daughter dances in Layton. I'm like, that's the only reason I drive to Layton is to take her to dance all the time.
Right.
Because there is the weirdest separation between these two counties. It's wild.
You know what's interesting? You say the separation, but when I drive from here to Salt Lake 3 days a week, I don't know where one community starts and the next.
Well, that's because all the houses are, yeah.
But I think that that's a good thing. Like I was always that kid growing up where I didn't see the borders between. Well, I didn't see them between counties or cities or states, and I still don't. I still have a really hard time when people are diehard this and diehard that. Where, so it's particularly in that stretch, kind of through Davis County. I honestly don't know where kind of one starts and the next.
Yeah.
ends. What's the boundaries of Davis County?
Well, Davis County, South Weber is actually Davis County,
Okay,
It's the meander line of the Weber River.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
is
you
it
go.
really?
There you
Oh.
go.
that's good to know. That's good
Yeah.
to know. I don't know if I knew that.
And
I didn't know that,
North
yeah.
Salt Lake is the
Yep.
southern end of it. I'm a Davis County girl.
Yay.
What? Represent
I was
here,
born
yeah.
in Ogden, but my parents decided to move to Bountiful when I was about 6 months old because my dad took a job with Walker Bank in Salt Lake. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shorter
Viewmont.
commute. Viewmont is where our son went. Our son went to Viewmont.
But that's the-
daughter to Clearfield.
The struggle, and that was where, Twilight's like, we're just going to give people in Salt Lake free passes up here. And so does Ogden still have a perception problem, or what do you guys
It's who
think?
you ask.
Yeah.
I'm involved with the arts community, so we'll just take that. Right?
Yeah.
People are fascinated with what's going on in Ogden in the arts in Salt Lake City. And I think there are opportunities in the arts in Ogden that are not available in Salt Lake City, right?
Yeah.
Salt Lake has a little bit more money to work with sometimes, but even that came as a big surprise to me. Like every one of these groups are struggling. I mean, they're fighting every year, for every penny. But there is a level of interest that it's exciting to sort of talk about, right? And it's that sort of pridefulness. I have talked about it for years, that Ogden sometimes has where I know they're warm and inviting people, but sometimes I feel like, they stay out. We love this as exactly as it is, and we don't want to change anything about Ogden. We want this to look like it did, and
Yeah.
we were young.
Yeah. Yeah.
But time passes, things evolve, and you can't brag about being the best of something and then don't want anybody to visit. Like, that makes no sense.
It's weird.
Right?
It's a weird thing, and that's why I feel bad for Visit Ogden, Shane, and those people. That's their job, to get everybody here, but not everybody here at the same. Not too many. But a couple things. One, that was, when my dad lived here, and they were transplants from Pennsylvania, and the first thought he had about Ogden was, because he worked for economic development for the city right before he passed. He didn't want Ogden to turn into like a Vegas. Like, he didn't want the big lights and the things like that. He didn't want that whole thing. And that was his thoughts. But then I was thinking about how cool is it to be the mayor of a town that has such a crazy history to it. Like, it's a pretty eclectic town, and it has a lot of stuff that's happened in the past. And I think we should lean into that. We went marketing wise into the outdoors for a while. This is a long way to get to like how you feel about the arts, because now the arts are trending, I think, in Ogden. And so I think we should talk about that and what your thought process is there as far as supporting the arts in Ogden and what that looks like.
So I love the arts. I actually consider myself a creator.
All right, we'll just cut it off at that.
Someone
on the show. We just needed that quote.
That's fine. No, that's fine. You can take it and run with it if you want. But, I mean, we're sitting in the arts district. You guys are making a living in the arts, right? And that's a great way to make a living.
Yeah.
Because it also makes an impact for other people around those that you're making a living around, right? But it can also be an economic catalyst. That's why I think Salt Lake City's looking at the opportunities in Ogden with interest, because it's an opportunity that's untapped for a lot of artists that are struggling, especially, for young artists. It's hard to get over that barrier to entry because they're not making a lot of money, so they need to have an affordable space to create their art and market their art and sell their art. That's why before we started, I was asking you how much are you paying for this booth?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a low barrier to entry to create the opportunity to create your hustle and your living around the thing that you love, right? But then it brings culture and creativity and uniqueness to our city and expresses who we are as people across cultures. Mm-hmm. That's what I love about the arts. All cultures, all nations, all faiths can create, express themselves, and we can show who we are as Ogden.
That's beautiful.
This next step for me is the most telling, and that's the fact that we have made a conscious, deliberate, strategic effort to build up this creative district and many of the decisions we made. And now what do we do, right? It's that, because it's all about the momentum, keeping that momentum. I'm nervous every day about that momentum slowing, right? I was nervous about you coming in with that momentum, just because this is the livelihood of so many people. Mm-hmm. And it's that also, we were just talking, there are certain areas that I'm much more comfortable walking around in the middle of the night in. And that means now that certain, let's just say artists, maybe moved into this area originally, can they maintain living here? Or are they going to be driven out because it'll be too affordable for them, right? And so it's just this next period, I think, is very telling, because once we really start creating this amazing thing, can we sustain that? And can we keep it affordable for artists as well? That's the big question.
Well, you were nervous about me coming in. I was nervous as well. So we're on the same page.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Well, I'm nervous about,
I'll tell you the thing that makes me nervous about the arts, for the arts here, is that we create these opportunities, create this future, and continue on the momentum without making sure those opportunities are available to the people that live here. That's what makes me nervous, because they're the ones that represent who we are, that represent all those faiths, all those nations and cultures. And if we are continually importing art and not providing opportunity for the people that we already have, that's when I think we lose our soul. So that's what has me nervous, is making sure that these opportunities are available to a lot of people that already live here.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsors for Van Sessions. So Utah Brewing, we're drinking that right now, and Lucky Slice and the Monarch.
For supporting what we do.
They put cash. They put money into local arts. That's local small business putting money into local arts, which is huge. That's a huge move. And so, because and we have grant systems, so we do have ramp, and then we benefit from Ogden City Arts as well. So I want to say thanks to the city for supporting the arts in that way, for sure. But local small businesses supporting the arts is huge. Do you see that happen a lot in Davis?
I do. Yeah. There's a lot of small businesses that support the arts, and a lot of just individual donors that are supporting the arts. And I think that's good to see that, come through from anywhere from preschool age, K through 12, and then up to senior citizen. We provide programming for it, and we provide a lot of free programming. And so those sponsorships and donors, it goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. What's on your docket? What your agenda? You just started this job.
I did, and jumped right in. So they do a concert series in the Kenley Amphitheater in Layton Park, and so they just announced that lineup, which is great. And then we also do free Sunday concerts in the park and free movie nights Friday nights.
Where do we learn about all this stuff?
davisarts.org.
There you go. That's the promotional part.
Text Kristin.
Yeah, I'm not giving out my number, but those of you who know.
Oh my God.
She'll send you a link at best.
Right?
Well, Kristin, you worked closely with the communities in Ogden for Weber County for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and then you're from Davis County. What are some of the similarities, differences? What are the two, places like, I guess?
Oh, wow. I unique at best, I want to say. There's, for me, a calmness with Davis County, just because I think I was born and raised there, and, high school years and things like that. Ogden, I always gravitated towards. I'm a lover of the trails, and just have spent many, many years up here enjoying the recreation. When we had a running store, I was on the goal board early on, probably 2004 is when I started. And then we acquired the marathon from the city, and a group of us were sitting around a table. Who should be the race director? And, by default, because I own a running store, I'm clearly qualified. And, and the rest is history. So that was fun for me, and a good group of people and board members and community members that I had the opportunity to network with. And it's been a successful race ever since. And the community, is to attribute to that. Come out in full force, whether it's volunteers, those of us working, or just the community in general.
I got dragged into that like 8-9 years ago, and I've been at the start line ever since.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you invited back each year, or you just show up?
No, they invite me to the meetings. Even. I know, it's wild.
Fair enough. Mojo, I got a question for you. It seems like just yesterday, but how long have you been with the Safety Council?
5 going on 6 years now. Yeah.
That's a considerable amount of time.
For me, it is. Other than Striders and my marriage to Kristin, it's the third longest thing that I've committed to. So it's been good. I went in, and there were some financial issues, and we've turned it around, and we're doing well, and we've brought in the Banyan Collective with the support of the Labor Commission to speak up for
shout out to the
with
Labor Commission.
Yeah, for sure. So it's been good.
How's the podcast going?
It's going well. Don't you think, Brandon? I know that
it's going well. I love it. I just got to wait for him to book stuff. That's all. Yeah.
Booking guests is more difficult than I realized. And
that's what Todd does.
Over the long term, it sure does get that way.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, I'm glad you agreed to do that. I think that was a step in a new direction for an organization like that.
Yeah, no, it's been good. And, you do have a sense, you feel fulfilled when you feel like you're doing something that helps people, and there's a meaning behind your work with a purpose. And yeah.
Did that job change you at all?
He's so much softer now.
The drive. Let's just talk about the drive.
Oh,
Do you go down every day?
Every day. Yeah. Yep. Have to.
Yeah, I do like 3 or 4 days. I do 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, we go down there. So
it's an opportunity to listen to podcasts, not yours.
Oh,
yeah, my vehicle's become like a little mini learning cube. So a lot of podcasts, a lot of books, and
a couple hours a day.
Yeah, no, it's good. So I was going to say about Kristin, though, like we went to high school together and she has always like put herself in it, right? So, I mean, she ended up with Goal and Striders and you know, where she's at now just because she's always putting herself in situations to be there. It's like, oh, Kristin can do it.
And that's the difference. Is she put herself in it and you stepped in it.
I mean, I've seen her do it so many times. Yeah.
Literally.
When she says literally, she means literally.
Well, we're creeping up on our time here. Mr. Mayor, is there anything we forgot or anything you want to talk about or address or tell Ogden? All of Ogden is listening to this podcast. Every single one of them. So
Literally all of Ogden.
literally all of Ogden.
I'm certain we forgot things, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
A chance for the next visit.
I mean, yeah, you'll be here a little while.
I'd be happy to come back. I don't want to be the guy that's not seen or heard or accessible. So
That's your transparency question.
I appreciate you
Shoot.
letting
Yeah.
me be here, actually.
No, there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll end it with this. Thank you to anybody who's listening here, who, whether you voted for me or not, thank you, Ogden, for giving me the opportunity to serve. It's not something I take lightly, and this has been an absolute blessing. The lack of sleep, the stress, the pressure. I truly believe that pressure is a privilege. So I thank the people that are giving me the opportunity and the privilege to feel the pressure, to carry the weight for a while. It's been the opportunity of a lifetime. It honestly feels like it's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. There's a lot of ways that you can serve others, but I get to serve where I love, the people that I love, doing the things that we love, and it's never felt better. And
Yeah.
even though it's hard, it is rewarding and inspiring and fulfilling work. So,
Well, thank you for stepping up because it's not an easy gig. So you ran.
I like hard
Chose it.
stuff.
Yeah,
You don't like hard things.
Choose your
don't run
hard.
for office. Yeah.
Yeah. Kristin, anything we need to know about Davis County and the arts? Like, what are some of the events coming up?
You know, I mean, like the concert series, like I said,
Yeah.
davisarts.org, and you know, some of the big names that are, I mean, they're all big names, but like BTO is coming. Martina McBride. There's some country.
I had the hugest crush on Martina McBride.
You need to come, Todd.
Yeah.
You need to.
I've seen her like 2 times. And this was some time ago.
Okay,
And I'm
that's
glad
good to
that
know.
she's still touring because
she's touring to Layton, Utah.
she was for me. I'm not a huge country fan, but she was always right there on that line of cool country for me.
Yeah.
She was Tay Tay before Tay Tay.
Yeah, Dad, she's so cute. I'll imagine she probably still is. Yeah. All right,
Okay,
thanks for
well,
letting me know. I'm
okay,
very excited
tickets
about
for
that.
Todd.
Yeah, thank you.
Got
Little
that taken care
flashback.
of.
Little flashback. Sorry about that. Thank you.
That's great.
No,
Meet and greet.
you're right. Exciting things though going on. Like I said, free Friday movie nights. I think that's fun. It's a fun family. They're all very family oriented, so you can bring all the kiddos. So, and
I was going to say, do you remember Philip Phillips, that poor kid? He's
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah,
but remember
good.
the whole big surprise thing on 25th Street? And people are like,
Yeah.
oh, it's going to be Ringo Starr. It's going to be the Rolling Stones. And then
It was
announced
Philip Phillips.
And it was
Yeah.
like, huh? What? Who? Poor kid, right? It's like, huh?
I remember that.
I mean, can you imagine that poor kid? It's like, oh my gosh, they think Pink Floyd is coming, and I'm like this 19-year-old kid, and
Yeah,
anyway,
wasn't he American Idol? Or
He was
Yeah.
American
Yeah, 'cause
Idol. and-
yeah, okay.
yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, he's coming back.
That's
Okay.
funny.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna let him know he's coming beforehand this time. Yeah.
It's like, just market it, let him know I'm coming.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was Bono, remember?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Like, that's not Bono,
wow.
but
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Young Bono. Oh, unproven Bono.
the next Bono. Right.
The next Bono.
Where do they show the outdoor films?
at the Kenley Amphitheater.
At the amphitheater.
Yep, everything's in the amphitheater there in Layton Park, just across from Layton High School. And yeah, there's 15 concerts. That doesn't include the free Sunday concerts every Sunday, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and we don't need to remind everyone. Davis County's not far away, people. You can
No.
just skip over there for
Hop,
and
skip,
you
and
can
a
get
jump.
some food.
And you can get some food.
Yeah.
And our kids will probably listen to this as they're trying to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But shout out to our daughter who's graduating from Harvard
Yeah.
with her master's
This
in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks. Jess.
She takes
That is,
after her mom.
Wow, very nice. Yeah.
What did she study there? I was just curious.
She is in a master's program, and I always have to make sure that I get this right.
Okay.
But it's a master education, leadership, organizations, and entrepreneurship, ELOE,
Okay.
with a concentration in identity, power, and justice in education.
So not the mayor's track there.
Well, yeah.
but maybe
Mayor
eventually.
school.
Yeah, mayor school.
Would not surprise me.
Would not surprise me. I want to say thank you so much to Banyan One. That is this trailer right here for Power today's episode of the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. You can listen and subscribe to Ogden Arts and Adventure on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And finally, thebanyancollective.com. Yes, we have balls and pants for sale. If you can find us here, and we're working on getting a shop up or getting that up there. So that is our mushroom balls and our pants. We have balls of Kristin. Are
Balls?
you balls and pants?
Pants, okay.
Balls and pants. Got to listen to our last episode. Got to keep up with us. We move quick around here, so you know.
We were all 12 years old last week.
All 12 years old last week. Yeah.
I'm just happy I'm mature and grown up.
Oh, it's about
100%.
time. 100%. 100%.
See how I just kept my mouth shut?
If you want to be on the program, DM me at Ogden Adventure. We'll take you out this week with You've Got Drive. This is Emily Hicks Band as recorded on Van Sessions. And we'll see you on the next Ogden Arts and Adventure Show.
It's never too late to chase a dream down. I don't care how crazy it sounds. Leave your doubts in the rear view and don't let nothing turn you around. Oh, you've got drive. The four-wheel uphill mud on the tires, kind of way of living your life that don't slow down. Ooh, ooh. Once you have the keys, there's no telling how fast you'll fly. You've got drive. If the going gets tough, get tougher. When the main route's closed, you'll find another. Got no time for a breakdown when there's still ground to cover. You've got drive. The four-wheel uphill mud on the tires, kind of way of living your life. Don't slow down. Ooh, ooh. Once you have the keys, there's no telling how fast you'll fly. You've got drive. It's too late to hit the brakes. You're already on your way. So buckle up, you'll be okay. You've got drive. The four-wheel uphill mud on the tires, kind of way of living your life. You don't slow down. You've got drive. The four-wheel uphill mud on the tires, kind of way of living your life. You don't slow down. Ooh, ooh. Once you have the keys, there's no telling how fast you'll fly. You've got drive. Oh, you've got drive. Oh, you've got drive. Oh, you've got drive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Emily Hicks Band on Van Sessions.